It happens. I understand.
All right. Let's kick it off. Another episode of Coaching Carlos with Coach Kirk Broussard, Carlos Page, tapping in to get caught up on this whole NFL life, man, and see what's going on. Man, it's getting down to crunch time, Carlos. Almost playoff time.
It's snow on the ground, Kurt. You're seeing flags being planted. We into the thick of it. This is the best time to be just a football fan in general. It don't got to be college or NFL, but
No
this
doubt.
is about as good as it gets right now. You get to the conference championships. You're starting to see who are the real teams in the NFL. Let's get it, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. It's been this weekend was crazy, man. I mean, Baltimore, Philadelphia, man. There's so much to talk
Yeah,
about. What you wanna
yeah.
start with though?
We got to start off now. We come up with our list before we start the show, and one of the things that I have been debating, me and some of my guys, is who's the best team in the NFC. We've seen the performances from the Eagles. They're looking dominant at this point. They're looking like they're going to make a serious run. Everybody that I've talked to, for the most part, if you ask about the NFC, I've talked about the Lions being the best team, not maybe just in the NFC, but maybe in the entire league. So right now, I think these are clearly the two best teams in NFC. But if you had to pick one, who are you picking and why?
Man, that's a great question, man. I mean, from a talent standpoint, the Eagles are loaded. I mean, they have very few weaknesses. I just can't completely buy into the Eagles long term as being the best team because of the leadership. You know, Nick Sirianni, he's just, I mean, as far as being a leader, you know, building a disciplined team, a well coached team, sure, he's put a pretty good staff in place around him. But, I mean, a team is a reflection of leadership. And I just can't completely buy into him. The leader I do love is Dan Campbell. I mean, Dan Campbell is a true motivator, leader, a guy that you want to run through a brick wall for. I mean, you watch the
Yeah.
way his guys play for him. So, you know, I got to go to the Lions, man. I mean, the Lions have the right pieces in place. They got excellent leadership. And that for me, that's where it starts with. What do you think?
I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. Sirianni's compiled a great record up there with the Eagles. I know a lot of people don't like his style, don't like the way that he handles things in his progressions and whatnot. But if you look at the record, man, he's a winner. He took him to a Super Bowl at this point. To your point, Howard Roseman has done a great job collecting talent for the Eagles.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
they went Georgia a lot in the draft, and they got some of those 5-star guys that were great
Yeah.
players on that Georgia staff. And I'll tell you another side, that Cooper Eugene, man. I mean, let's give it up to the white cornerbacks, man. The defensive backs. There's been a drought. It's been a drought. I think you agree, Kirk, for that great white cornerback in the league. But Eugene looked like he fits the bill. And I think the Lions, the expectation coming in this year off of NFC Championship game that you probably should have won last year against the 49ers, right? Got out to a lead in that game. The expectations, it's always hard to believe in a team like the Lions because we haven't seen it. Like you haven't seen the Lions ever really be dominant for a long time. Maybe a playoff here and two. But I don't care when they had Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson, when they had Barry Sanders. It's never been, and it's just hard to really give into a team that I haven't seen do it before in my lifetime. So I'm going to go to Eagles. I think the Eagles, like you said, the talent alone, all they have to do is pull it together, be consistent. They don't have to do much, Kurt. They give about a Saquon. He can go for 100, 120 each game. Jalen throws the ball maybe 20, 25 times, and they shorten the game, and they can beat you. And that defense is good enough to hold their end of the bargain too. So I know the Lions are good, but I think the Eagles may have something.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Eagles are talented enough to where talent alone is going to take them, a few steps into the playoffs, a few rounds into the playoffs. But can they win the big game when it comes down to winning a big game? I think the leadership uh, factor is going to catch up with him. And it's just his antics. I mean, even Jalen Hurts, shrugs his shoulders at this guy, just some of his antics. It's just, it's just not becoming the leader example that you want for your squad. So I can't buy into to Philly. I do agree with you. The general manager has put him in position with a immensely talented team to make playoff runs. But I think that leadership factor is going to catch up with him, and I'm going to go with the Lions.
Let me ask you this, Kurt. What is it about Dan Campbell? Um, because I get it. He's a very inspirational, motivational guy. He shoots from the hip. He is what you see with him. But a lot of people I've heard lately give the edge to Dan Campbell in a lot of categories to other proven coaches. I mean, Dan Campbell's done it for what, a couple of years, and but I seem to hear a lot of chat about, well, I'll take Dan Campbell over, this guy or that guy. I'm like, okay, Dan Campbell hasn't proven to me. He's only went to one NFC Championship game and he lost that one. So what is it that makes Dan Campbell a better choice for leadership than a guy like Sirianni that's actually been to a Super Bowl? Yeah, they lost to Mahomes, but what is the difference that I'm seeing here?
Well, I think the thing about Dan Campbell that makes him stand out, and I was not completely bought into, the hire of Dan Campbell initially, but as I've
Yeah.
seen the way as I have observed some of his staff hires and the guys that he's put in place around him. First of all, the guy knows how to put together a good staff. I mean, he's got great coaches at all aspects of his squad. All position coaches are excellent
Hmm.
coaches. So the guy can put together an organization. Second of all, the guy's a player's coach. He knows how to connect with players, and that is key from any type of leadership position in any walk of life to being able to connect with your
Yeah.
subordinates. So the guy can build connections with players, which makes him, as we call it, a player's coach. The next aspect I love about him is the guy's a motivator. I mean, if you look at some of his post game speeches, his pre game speeches, I mean, the guy knows how to build his team up to a level to where they feel like they can run through a brick wall for him. As well as if you really pay attention to his practice structure and how he builds through the week, how he gradually elevates his guys to where on Wednesday, I mean, they're all out. And then he dials them back down on Thursday, and then Friday you got your walkthrough, and Saturday, you're just chilling and maybe mental reps, and then Sunday he has his guys ready, cranking them back up with a hell of a pregame speech. So I think it's those aspects that really stand out for me that puts him in that top elite leadership category. And he's just a guy that knows how to put all those different requirements that a successful head coach needs to win in this game. He's able to put it together. So that's for me. That's it.
Yeah. I get it.
Yep.
I see a guy that has that potential. He doesn't have quite the wins right now, and he hasn't been doing it long enough. But for a guy that a lot of people made fun of when he was coming out there talking about biting kneecaps, what was he saying? And grabbing, well, he was all that crazy mess at his press conference that made people like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's really, like you say, he's really got a way of connecting with his players that shows the way that they play. And the Lions have been dominant. I mean, they had a 48-point game, they had another high 40 game. So these guys come out and play with authority with them, and I think he does have the ability to get the best out of them. But let's
Well,
talk
it's
about
like it's like you mentioned on the show previously, with Ben Johnson, who's going to be a hot name for a head coach. I mean, that's just Ben Johnson. Aaron Glenn. He's got great coordinators,
yeah.
guys that really know how to game, that know how to get their players to execute. So yeah,
But hey, isn't that the truth that they always say? You already see, I always see how great a coach is if he's able to keep that train running after some of these high assistants go on to different places. It's going to happen. If you have a successful staff, you're going to get picked off by other teams. They want a piece of that, whatever that you got going on over there. So that's really because like a guy like Andy Reid, take a guy like that. He said plenty of times that he's had guys picked off. Think about Nick Saban in college. These guys keep on rolling, and it shows that they are the true head of that train for the most part. But I get what you're saying, though. It is a talent in putting the right people around you to make sure that you're successful. And if he's got an alpha talent, then I think he'll keep on doing his thing. But um, we got to talk about a couple of things also going from those games. So it was a good matchup this week between Baltimore Ravens and Philadelphia. We've seen that ultimately the Eagles came out and won that game. But as we jump into that game, because that's one of the pivotal games that happened this past week, let's talk about the running back matchup because we got two guys having some great seasons. Both of them, I think, over 1,300 yards already. Both of them leading their offense. And I mean, this is going to be one of those, if you're a real football guy, one of those best running back races, highest rushing totals at the end of the year, one for the ages, man. So if you had to pick right now, I'm not saying 5 years from now, I ain't saying 5 years ago. Right now, this season, who is the running back that you're taking? You taking Saquon? Or are you taking Derrick Henry? What you got?
For me, it's got to be Derrick Henry. I mean, I love what Saquon's doing,
Oh,
but Derrick Henry has had better longevity. He's had less injuries. He's been more durable. And as
mm-hmm.
you know, in the NFL, the best thing is to be available.
Yeah.
So if I had to choose one of the two, I would have to go with Derrick.
I can't agree with you on that one, man. I think that Saquon, his ability to also catch the ball, um, his Derrick has breakaway speed. I know all about Derrick. I covered him down here in Tennessee with the Titans for a number of years. I've seen him at his absolute prime where he just would stiff arm guys and go 98 yards, like he did against Jacksonville. But Saquon has that rare ability, man, where he's at that prime where anytime he touches the ball, he can go. And I'm talking about from catching it, I'm talking about from running it, and he just is the juice. That offense looks completely different than what they did last year when they got stagnant towards the end of the year and they lost all those games. I don't think that Baltimore's offense will be too far off from what they're doing without Derrick. Derrick is a extra element, and he's a beneficiary of having Lamar Jackson back there. But do you really think that he's that much of a difference maker in Baltimore?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, for me, their offense looks completely different with Derrick Henry. I mean, that's a weapon. That guy is physical. That guy has numbers. That guy has durability. That guy is a threat to, break one long term. I mean,
Yeah,
it's clearly obvious that Tennessee didn't appreciate that guy. I mean, because he
I
went to
wouldn't
the
say that.
he
I
went
wouldn't
to the
say
best
that.
he went to the best possible organization he could go to, Baltimore. I mean, that is a well-oiled machine. And I mean, when you got the tight end, you got freaking Zay Flowers, you got um, Lamar. I mean, he's just another weapon, man. For me, Baltimore is that's my dark horse to win it all, and Derrick Henry is going to be a big part of that.
Okay, a couple of things there. So, for one, like I said, you got to slow down about Tennessee. Didn't appreciate it. Do you see the Tennessee Titans this year? Have you
Yeah,
seen that team
yeah,
without this guy?
yeah.
The fans didn't want him to leave here. They believe me, this was not a popular choice among Nashvillians to get rid of Derrick Henry, but they pretty much understood that at this point in his career, he probably needed to go chase a ring because he wasn't getting the one down here. But
Yeah.
at the same token, you brought up a good point. With all of the weapons that Baltimore has, we're talking about Zay Flowers, we're talking about Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, we're talking Rashard Bateman, we're talking about Derrick Henry. Why aren't they better than what they are? Why
Well,
aren't the record is what it shows you are, and these guys can't finish games, which is something that they should be able to do with Derrick Henry.
yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of goes. I mean, just to go back to what you were saying, when I said the city of Nashville or the state of Tennessee didn't appreciate Derrick Henry, I meant they had years to get a championship squad around him, and they failed to do that. They made bad draft picks. I don't mean the fans
They
didn't
went
appreciate
they
him.
went to the
I mean the
AFC Championship
organization didn't
game.
appreciate. They did,
The
but
AFC Championship game.
they
Let's not
couldn't
act like they
sustain.
didn't.
They couldn't
Yeah.
sustain. You know, quarterback. They made bad quarterback selections. Um, but I mean to answer your question, finishing games. It's just one of those things. The AFC is super competitive this year. There's going to be a lot of close games. And I do agree with you. They got to finish better, but I think you're going to see them hit their stride here at the end of the season, going into the playoffs. So I don't lack for confidence when Lamar's at the helm. I mean, he's a difference maker. Lamar's going to make plays. Like you said, they do have to finish better though.
That defense got to get better too. I
Yeah,
mean,
no doubt.
they played better against the Eagles. Eagles is a tough team to play against. We all know, but and what they only give up like 24 in that game, I think. So they did play a little bit better, but I think that Lamar kind of puts more on his shoulders than he has to, and he puts a little bit more pressure on it because you see he just uncharacteristically fumbles the ball. He's like, I don't know. It just seems like he's pressing a little bit, and I don't know why. As a guy that's had all the success that he's had, but going from that, speaking of disappointments, I am kind of disappointed in Baltimore, but it's some bigger disappointments out there. I've seen some teams that coming into the year, I just knew we're going to be maybe contenders, maybe not even contenders, but it being better than what they are. So going into this year, thinking about what you know now and seeing what we got, what are we in week 14, 13, 14 at this point? Is that
Yeah.
far?
Yep.
What is a team? I'll give you mine, but you go ahead, coach. You tell me what are some teams that you see has disappointed you the most this year so far?
Well, I mean, not particularly disappointed me, but maybe a lot of fans. I mean, Atlanta started off hot. They started off
Yeah,
hot, but I mean, you see, they've sputtered out. What are they, 6-6 now? So
yeah.
that's disappointing. I mean, I think kind of felt like with the amount of money they spent on Kirk Cousins, bringing in Raheem Morris, I just thought,
Hmm.
and they put some weapons around him. I think it's just trying to turn it over to Penix Jr. and see what he got towards the end of the year here. But I would say they're definitely a disappointment for me.
That's a good one. That's a good one
Yeah.
because they should be better. And now you're
But
hearing, I don't know, you hear stuff. They talk about Kirk Cousins may request a trade or be traded out there this year, like you said, let Penix go next year. And it's like, what would we even do this for with Kirk Cousins?
yeah,
What we even just waste a year here to
yeah.
do all this, spend 100 million, whatever. I don't
I
know.
don't I don't know
My
who's
team,
gonna want to buy that contract.
I don't know, man. Have you
I
seen
mean,
the Giants play?
probably 80% of that's guaranteed.
Yeah, somebody's gonna eat it, but I mean, the Giants, Malik Neighbors. You got to get a guy there. You got to get there that can at least give him the ball. Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, maybe you keep Devontae Adams if you got a quarterback. You got Brock Bowers who's putting up all-time great tight end numbers for a
Yeah.
first year. Some of these places just need a stopgap guy, but you can make a lot of money, Kirk. You can be a $300 million guy just being a stopgap guy. In the league for 20 years or whatever.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say my disappointment is the Cincinnati Bengals. It's the Bengals.
I could see that.
You know,
I could see that.
they
They're even more of a disappointment because of the amount of yards that Burrow has put up. I
it's
mean,
crazy.
he's leading the league in passing yards, and
Yeah.
they
Jamar
just
Chase is leading all the league in the receiver. He might win the triple crown in receiving.
yeah. That
To your
I would
point.
agree with you on that one. Yeah.
I
For me, even Jacksonville's a disappointment because
yeah.
you would think they would be turning the corner. What is Lawrence in his third or fourth year now? You would
Hmm.
think they would be turning the corner, at least be a playoff caliber team, and look what we got. So
And I and,
def-
and, and let- talk about that hit, man. You're an NFL guy. You've been in the league, you coach, and it's a certain code. Even me, I didn't play on a professional level. I played basketball to a certain level, things like that. But I mean, all professional sports, all regular sports, it's just that code that certain things you try to make sure that you're not do. You don't want to hit a guy that's sliding down and you see it and he just Shazier actually played in the Tennessee a few years, so I'm familiar with the guy. I don't remember him being, taking a cheap shot artist or anything like that, but to hit Trevor Lawrence, man, and he goes down. I don't know if he was unconscious, but definitely suffered a concussion. Things. What are your thoughts about that? How does that? And you see the reaction from the Jacksonville. So I love to see it. I'll be honest with you, the way that they took up for him. What's your thoughts on that?
yeah, I mean, you got to get it. You got to get that out of the game. There's no place for that in the game. You're going to take out elite quarterbacks that we need in the game to make it even interesting to even watch. You know, as a player, you got to be able to pull up. I mean, he's giving himself up. It was pretty obvious. You got to pull up. I mean, what are you really doing? And really, to be honest with you, the only way to really truly get it out of the game is take them off the field and hit them in their pockets even harder. So
So you as a former coach, if you're on the sidelines, right, and you see your guys start to act out on their hit, because of course, as a macho, whatever you want to call it, as an NFL player, I can't let my quarterback go out like that. So what are you
yeah.
doing as a coach to like? You don't want to get your guys out there get suspended, do something stupid, that they don't need to be doing it. So, how would you react in that situation on the sideline?
For me, that preparation starts before the game. Obviously guys are going to react emotionally to protect their guy. That's their brother. Football is definitely a brotherhood, but that preparation for those type of situations starts before you even get to the game. That's something that you're talking to your guys about all week. If you're going to play a team that's chippy, a team that potentially takes cheap shots. I mean, we watch so much film. It ain't his first time being aggressive like that at the end of plays. You see that stuff coming, and you start giving your guys a heads up before the game. Hey, hold your emotions intact. This could happen, that could happen. This is who we're playing. This is what you should expect. Is that 100% bulletproof that's going to stop guys from getting emotional when the guy gets hit late? No. But I think it does help guys to think before they act in a situation that you would normally be emotional. Hey, go out there and pick your guy up off the field. I have no problem with that. But let's not create no brawl, that type of stuff like that. Let the refs
Yeah,
handle it. So for
yeah.
me, it's something that you start prepping your guys for during the week.
Yeah, it's just a tough spot, like you said. Guys gonna reaction. They should because anytime a cheap shot, it's like you taking it not just at that quarterback or that play, you're taking it to my team. You think we're soft or something? Like, why would you think that that was acceptable to us? So, I get you on that. Let's talk about the AFC a little bit, Kirk. It's funny to me that every time we look up each week, it seems like KC is squeaking one out, right? They're up five in the fourth quarter against Carolina Panthers. They're barely beating the the Las Vegas Raiders. Like I said, they just squeaking by these teams, and everybody's saying that Kansas City is a former, they the two-time defending Super Bowl champions. You got to give them the benefit of the doubt. I kind of find that hard to believe sometimes. But what do you think? What do you see with KC? What makes you feel like this great record that they have, everything is going to come together and they'll be fine come playoff time and really make another run?
You know, because they've done this before in the past. They've had in previous years, they've had moments in the season where they've sputtered and they've barely squeaked by close games. But a true champion knows how to finish, knows how to close out games. And like we just talked about Baltimore not being able to close out games, Kansas City can close out games. They
Yeah.
understand how to do that. They understand how to win. They understand how to squeeze, I mean to grip that rope a little bit tighter at the end of the game, to strain at the end of a game at every position. It's just one of those things to where they really understand the concept of everyone winning their one-on-one battle each play. And the fact is, if you do that, you're going to score a lot. So I think Casey just gets it, man. They got not just one leader, but they got multiple leaders littered all over that roster. And that's what I think separates them from other teams. We talk about the close games that they've, you wouldn't expect this to be close or that to be close. It's the NFL, and there is a lot of parity, and there's going to be close games. But like I just talked about, they knows they're closers. They got closers on that squad, and I think that's what separates them.
Are they a team that's just bored with the regular season? Going through the motions and I know this is what we're about to, but I mean, the offense still looks. It doesn't. I don't worry about Mahomes. I don't. I think he's earned our benefit of the doubt to know that, like you said, in the moments that count, he's going to be there. But I mean, you do have big injuries on that side. They're just not getting Pacheco back. We see him come back from what 5 6 weeks on the IR. You lost Rice. You're trying to replace him with an older guy, DeAndre Hopkins. Kelsey's not getting any younger. Xavier Worthy's starting to come along on the offense. And on top of that, that defense doesn't look lights out as it's been in the last couple of years. So I do see someone that can, I don't want to say complacency, but like, let's get to the playoffs already. Kind of more, come on, guys. Like, we got to get to the playoffs. We know what we're going to do there. But I mean, you're playing a dangerous game there. You're playing a dangerous game to be hitting on
Yeah.
all cylinders at the right time to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said. I mean, when you have a great team that has dominated in the past or had a lot of success in the past, one of the biggest things you have to fight as a coach is not allowing your team to get complacent. So there's different little things that you do throughout the season to, keep them on track. And so, yeah, you're gonna have letdowns and you're gonna have guys that are just out there and that kind of get bored. But ultimately, I feel like everybody in that organization they're professionals. They've proven in the past that they are professionals, and when you're a professional, man, you know how to keep that consistency. So I feel like I feel like they're gonna turn it up when they need to turn it up, and they know it's getting down to crunch time now. So I think you're really gonna see them start clicking. And like I said, it comes down to like each I kind of compare this to the military. In a football program, you have element leaders on each
Hmm.
position. You know, the receiver position, the tight end position, the quarterback position. They have so many leaders in that locker room that I don't think they'll be allowed to be let down. So you're gonna see them turn it up when it's time to turn it up.
Who are the chief contenders outside of KFC and the AFC? We're talking Buffalo. We're talking Pittsburgh, maybe.
Yeah,
Baltimore, like you said, they're always a threat with Lamar. Maybe I don't know the Chargers. So I think that maybe KC has an easier path because which of those teams do you really trust? Josh Allen has proven that he can do it. He's had
yeah,
multiple chances to beat Mahomes in the playoffs. Hasn't done it yet. I don't know if you really trust Pittsburgh. I know the defense is real, and I'm gonna tell you, man. But Russ chucked it up there for about over 400 yards. Well, against it's the Bengals. Everybody can throw on that defense, but I mean, he's showing that we've always said if Pittsburgh can just get a guy that can get the ball out there, so they won't be the Iowa Hawkeyes of the NFL. You know, they're gonna hold you to 15, but they're not gonna score but 16. They got a guy. Russ is cooking.
yeah.
He shows that he has. I think it may be Pittsburgh that can give him a real chance. I don't see how Pittsburgh can get home field advantage, but what do you think about Pittsburgh as maybe the top contender to get KC in the AFC?
I like what the Steelers have been looking have they what they've shown recently. Um, I think it was the best fit for Russell Wilson to go there. I mean, being under Tomlin, I think it's a lot better fit than him being under Sean Payton. So I think you've kind of seen a resurgence. I think he's finally completely healthy. And I think the Russ that we saw in Denver wasn't completely healthy. I think he was kind of pushing through it out there because a lot of people were wondering how could he have such a big drop and just drop off like that. So I think you know, defense, their lights out on defense. They got that component, and then they got great leadership. So I feel good about the Steelers going forward. Um, I really feel good about, like I said, Baltimore. I think they just gotta really clean up some things, but I think Baltimore going forward, I really feel good about them. Um, and then you really can't ignore the Chargers. I mean, what are they 8-4 now? They got a
Yeah,
legit shot. So I think the Chargers could make some noise as well. How about
you
you?
know, I don't like the way that we kind of did Russ. I think Sean Payton ran him out of Denver. I mean, the guy still threw for what over 3,000 yards. He had 26 touchdown passes last year. I think I only had like 8 or 9 interceptions, and it's like the way that he was portrayed that he had just fell off this cliff. I seen some good things out of Russ last year. Maybe Russ didn't want to listen to Sean Payton, and we got this
Yeah,
illusion that the guy was just washed up.
yeah.
Um, he's made some incredible throws. Some of the things that I've seen him play through when he was in Seattle, things like this. So I'm glad to see, for one, the resurgence of Russ. I think he definitely deserves his opportunity that he's now getting. I guess we got to throw Buffalo in there. I got to say, I know Buffalo, again, I don't trust them, but I mean, the record speaks for itself. They're going to be a higher seed. They're going to have every opportunity, like they've always had, to go up against Mahomes. But I know it's hard to say that he's the challenge to it beats him. I mean, I see
Hey,
your face over there.
if
I don't
if
know.
if Buffalo gets a playoff game in the snow, they could have an advantage there.
Well, KC plays in the snow a little bit too. I don't think. Remember they played, you know, Miami the Friday.
Yeah,
I got to rant real quick. I got to rant. Stop putting Miami in prime time games in cold weather. Damn it! I'm tired of seeing them go up there, get
yeah,
their ass whooped, and we know it's all coming. We know it's coming. They're
yeah.
not gonna beat nobody in the snow.
Exactly.
Why
Yeah.
do we gotta keep going through this, Kurt?
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I think they need to move to the NFC. They need to be in the NFC South.
do it. This is torture. Every year they hype them up, and when those gonna, and and then the thing, Tua didn't even play bad, but you still
Yeah,
got guys. You hear out the locker room come out, man. It was too cold up there. Those guys weren't prepared for the cold.
they're
I,
not used to it.
they live in Miami. That doesn't mean that some of these guys didn't play in Colorado. Some of these guys didn't play in Ohio State and stuff like. What do you mean you're not used to the cold no more?
But I'm
It's
gonna tell
because
you though.
yeah, I don't
But
get it.
listen. But look, I'm from a hot place, but I live in a cold place, and I would say when I went back to Florida, I wasn't used to the heat anymore. I used to didn't even think twice about the
Come
heat.
on,
It
man.
was fine for man. That heat, it's a little bit
It
on
ain't the
me now,
same no
man. I'm
more,
not used to it. No, it's different.
huh?
your
Man,
body your body acclimates to where you live at.
I guess, man. But I don't. Well, if that's the case, and we're gonna agree to this, don't put Miami above. They don't need to go above Kentucky. I don't know. They don't need to go above, what,
And
Baltimore or something.
indoor games.
Tired
Yeah,
of seeing it, man. Tired of seeing
yeah,
it.
I agree.
All right, man. One last topic. We haven't talked about it. College football. I see the Florida Gators banner behind you. If I was had my right mind, I would have put my
Hey, we
Tennessee
hot.
banner behind me.
We hot, baby.
Ain't nobody
Hey,
worried about y'all right now.
we done flipped 11 recruits. We flipped 11 recruits in the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And
I haven't been impressed.
8 of them are blue chippers.
I've been impressed. I mean,
We
I see it happening.
we hot. Go Gators.
Don't Kirk, don't get too excited. Okay, this is you guys. I've watched our show before as a staunch Tennessee Vol fan, as I am, and as a Florida native and Florida Gator fan, as Kirk is.
Oh,
This is
we about to flip one of y'all safeties.
no,
You
I
got to
seen that, man. Kona
you got
Berry,
a
y'all got one
you
of our
you
defensive
you
backs, man.
you got a blue chip safety. We about to flip him.
I, I I don't know what's up with Florida. I don't know what's going on with you guys. Y'all do this like every year though. Y'all get hot. They write off Billy Napier. They say he's not
Hey,
on coach, and he gets players. I would say that
every,
about Billy. He gets players, man.
everybody want to play with DJ Lagway, baby.
Well, we got Nico to talk about. But anyway, before we get into our Florida Tennessee talk, let's talk about the college football playoffs. The new rankings have come out. Um, Any surprises? I should have put up the top 10. I can tell you where Tennessee's at. We're ranked number 6, but we're projected to be number 9 against Ohio State in the playoffs. We will
I,
go to Columbus.
I could tell you what we could talk about. I mean, who thought they were going to get in but didn't get in? Miami.
No,
Miami.
Miami took a L. They took a
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah.
And everybody's gonna say Alabama. Like again, I'm an SEC guy all the way. But
Yeah.
I think even SEC, like Tennessee's and the LSU's and the Floridas, you get tired of Alabama, man. They just always find a way
Yeah.
to sneak in
Bro,
there, you know?
if Alabama don't get in, they're going to riot in Tuscaloosa, man. They're going to flip Alabama upside down. They're so used to winning.
Yeah,
They're going to run that guy out of town. If they don't win the bowl game and they come out next year losing again, they're going to run him out of town, bro.
could be. I
Fo-
mean, well, they in right
Following Nick
now.
Saban, it ain't easy.
No, I wouldn't want to be that guy. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to follow the guy after the guy. But right now, they consider to be in because at 11, they would get an at-large bid. So they would be facing, I think, like the lowest ranked team in the first round. So right now, if everything falls the way that it should be, now if Clemson is able to pull the upset against SMU in the ACC championship game, they could possibly push them out. But right now, as we sit here and speak, Kurt, Alabama's in the playoff at 3 losses, ahead of teams like you said, Miami, ahead of South Carolina, who's won their last 6 or 7 games, ahead of Ole Miss, who
So
Ole
it
Miss,
look
yeah.
it looks like South Carolina might squeak in though.
Now they're not gonna have a chance. So I was watching the committee today. They said they said the field is pretty much locked. The only
Okay.
thing that's gonna change is that the conference championship games may change some of the seeding. So
Okay.
if Georgia beats Texas, maybe they flip Texas seed in the SEC championship game. If the Pac, who is it? Not the Pac-12, the Big 12. If Arizona State loses, maybe they go down a notch, and Boise State gets the enlarged bid. So we're locked in on where the season is going to be. I
So
mean, where the teams is.
ten, Tennessee's in.
Tennessee's in. Tennessee's
Okay.
going to be in. Yep, they're going to face. The only thing that I can see really changing, if we're talking about it, is like let's say that Penn State gets boat raced by Oregon. Maybe they go down a few notches, but
Yeah.
they're still going to be in.
Hey,
Vice versa, like I said, for Georgia, Texas.
as long as Miami's out and Florida State's out, I'm happy.
We ain't even gonna talk about Florida State. We ain't gonna
Oh,
even talk. We're not gonna bring them up.
yeah. Oh my God, yeah. They're awful. Awful.
So
They're
let's
like
talk about.
they're like 55th in recruiting right now.
I don't get it. And one
I
of my
mean,
best friends is a Florida State fan, and he's happy about that they got Gus Malzahn and the defensive coordinator from Nebraska. I said, man, that's where your season at right now. You
yeah.
you worried about the OC
Hey,
at DC?
they too worried about taking the flag out of the Gator player's hand, and
Oh my
they
god,
coach want to throw the flag. I mean, come on, man.
bro.
He's
I
butthurt about that ass whooping.
I think we gotta talk about that flag planning thing this weekend, and it started off with Michigan and Ohio State. Okay,
Yep.
I get. This is what I'm gonna say about this. If you just whoop me in a game and I have nothing else left but to fight for my dignity at the end, because that's what you fight for. Can't let nobody come to your place,
Yeah.
plant their flag, blow kisses at your cheerleaders,
Yeah.
and walk out the building without no. If I didn't win nothing else, I won that fight at the end of the game. I get
Yeah.
it. I ain't saying that is right, but I get it. I'll do it
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, you know what? They've been doing that in college football for so long, man. I mean,
Yeah, they have.
if you don't want them to plant the flag, don't let them beat you at home. Simple.
Kirk, what if they better than me? And what if I know? What if this year is not our year? I know we ain't got the speed, we ain't got the
Okay. Well,
whatever it is that year to beat
but
them
here's the
guys.
thing. Here's the thing. Last year, they came into the swamp. They ripped up. They brought tools to rip up our
They did.
sod, took all our sod, ran around with a gator head,
Yeah. They was
but
clowning out there. They was doing a lot.
clowning, clowning. Exactly. I mean, it's just one. It's like the old saying: "Don't dish it out if you can't take it." You
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Please don't forget, man. Like you said, you may win this year, but guess what? That same year, that same motivation that I got for the next 364 days, it's building, and it's gonna come
Exactly.
out. I like what Shaden
Exactly.
Sharp. Shaden Sharp said if he was Florida State, I mean he was on Florida, he would have jumped on the Seminole horse and be
Yeah.
with the spear and say,
Yeah.
"That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. That's what we
Yeah.
doing."
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, heated old rivalry. Rivalry. A lot of those guys played against each other in high school. And now they became enemies. Played with and against each other in high school. So a lot of them guys been playing. A lot of them guys that played against each other in that game have been playing against each other since little league.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's deep.
yeah,
But I love the passion of the game, man. To hear Jack Sawyer's the linebacker for Ohio State, you got cameras everywhere now, so you hear everything, and you
yeah,
hear him just basically f those guys, man. They beat me 4 years. I like, no, they're not putting this damn flag. Like I get it, bro. I played, you played. We know
yeah,
that is the ultimate sign. I'm sorry, somebody got to get their ass whooped. It's just got to
yeah,
go down like that. You're not gonna sit there and do that in my face. It's
yeah,
just not gonna go down that way. So
yeah. Look,
did you see the guy get punched? I think it was Notre Dame and USC, and the guy just punches the guy on the ground. I'm talking about downright just gave him a right cross to the
hey,
face.
hey, look. I've been a part of some melees after football games, and what I would do is I would keep my helmet on. I would find me a helmet on the ground as a weapon and just be locked and loaded for whoever run
You
up.
swinging, bro. You
Yep,
swinging on him.
yep, yep. Yeah,
But you knew to
man.
keep your helmet on, though. You like, hey man, if they want to do something back, at least I got mine on. They ain't gonna go down for
All
me.
day, already. Exactly. Yep.
I, you got a little passion, though. I mean, this that's one thing I think that does separate the NFL from college football. It's a different level of passion when it's your school versus maybe when it's your NFL team. It's more of a professional game there. But I mean, we had mascots fighting. We had
Yeah.
North Carolina versus North Carolina State, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt and
Yeah.
Tennessee kind of mixed it up. I love the
Yeah.
passion of the college football game, man, and I think them expanding to the playoffs is just going to take it that much further. Can you imagine a college football game down there in Gator Nation in Gainesville? You know, a game in December, a playoff game. That place is going to be rocking when you
Yeah,
guys get there. If it's in
yep.
Neyland, I can't
Any
wait.
any of those big stadiums like Neyland, the Big House,
Yeah.
the Swamp.
Oh
I
my
mean, a
God.
playoff game there, it's gonna be insane, man. I mean, it's gonna be over capacity,
Yeah.
and especially if it's a night game and everybody
And
been
that's what
getting
they're gonna
drunk,
be. Oh
everybody been
man.
getting drunk all day before the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That is
the
what I'm
pat
excited to
the
see.
the pageantry of college football is unmatched.
It is.
Unmatched.
It
Yeah.
is. So I can't
Yeah.
wait to see it, man. Hopefully we get to it. If you haven't, if you don't know, it's going to be December the 20th, the 21st weekend, the first round of the college football playoffs. I will be tuned in. I'll be seeing where my balls end up at. Hopefully, if we got to go up to Columbus, we can have our business up there at Ohio State, but we'll see how the chips fall as we get into the conference championship week this week and see what teams win and lose. But what else you got for me, Kirk? This has been a great conversation, man. I love doing this with you, man. Looks like we got some new things developing, man. Surge Sports, you may want to get into it, guys. We should show some capabilities on that side. But what you got going, Kirk?
Nah, man, I'm good. I'm good with the show and the direction we're going in, man. Like you said, tap into Surge Sports, tap into Coach and Carlos, find us on social media, find us on Facebook, Instagram, like the show, share the show, and let's keep this content coming weekly, man.
Absolutely. I'm all for it, Kirk, man. So, as always, find us on all those feeds. We have more coming out on the gram. So, you guys can catch up with us and a few other things, some clips and highlights, man. Shouts out to my guy Bobby. Shouts out to Kurt. Man, Kurt and Carlos, I'll let you have the final words, man.
Hey, like you said, man, make sure you follow the show for the new content, man. We got the playoffs coming up. We got college football playoffs. We got NBA playoffs. I mean, we got
Coming.
well, what is it? NBA in season tournament or whatever this is going
Yeah,
on.
the cup.
Yeah, I want to tap into that. And definitely, like you mentioned before, man, we got some stuff coming up with some picks. We're gonna start making our picks each week, money line picks, parlay picks, and I got a special guest. I got to try to get you guys some money. I got a special guest I want to bring on. This guy Josh Smith. He does a lot of parlay betting picks. He's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a guy that does a ton of research and has had a lot of success. With his picks. So we want to get him on next week if possible.
Let's do it, man. I'm all
Yeah.
for it. I'll give y'all some of my specials now. I calculated in 13 weeks. I won money about 9 to 10 out of this week. So, I got something. Hey, I know Josh the expert and he gonna do what he do, but
Yeah.
I got some of my little ways and means that I want to
Hey,
share with y'all too.
y'all can compare notes. Yeah, definitely.
For sure. For sure. I
Yeah,
can't wait
man.
to do it, man. But this is exciting, man. This is just the beginning. As we said, we're gonna do this a little bit more consistent for you guys coming up. So make sure to lock in with us, man. Coach and Carlos, it's gonna be coming to you soon again.
Out.